So today we're going to be replacing our 50 amp inlet receptacle because our original one, the ground pin, ended up burning out. We don't know exactly why, but Grand Design sent us a new receptacle as well as a new cord. So we're going to take this one off today and put this new one on. So to start, we're going to take off these 4 screws so that we can release this from the side of the camper. So as you can see, you should be able to access this from the outside. There should be plenty of cord, just be careful what you pull on. So I've been back there plenty of times. I know there's several feet of extra wire, so I'm gonna pull it out to make it easier to access. So now we gotta take the receptacle off so we can get to the wires and disconnect them. So as you can see here, on the exterior, if you twist this, those pins will slide right out and come right out of the channel. You can back this whole thing off. This is just a nut. I'm gonna do this. There's a rubber piece that can come right off. Set that aside for now. And then this exposes the whole back side of the receptacle. So each of these set screws clamps down onto the wire. So we're gonna take these 4 off and the wires will come right out of this. You can throw it away and we'll put the new one on. So I'm just gonna get my screwdriver. I'm gonna loosen these up. So for the 50 amp, this bare copper wire, this is your ground. White is generally neutral, and then your black and your red are your hot wires. That typically corresponds with X and Y when you look on the back. So then this should just slide out now. So the wires are exposed, and put that down. And this whole thing slides off. So in our case, like I said, since this burned out, the ends aren't all that clean. Since I've got the tools right here, I'm gonna end up cutting these back so I can get to nice, clean, bare copper. We'll strip the insulation back a little bit. That way I know I have a good, secure connection. I don't have any corrosion. I don't have any residue from the burnt up plastic. I wanna make sure everything's a good, solid electrical connection here. So now that we got all these stripped back to the right length, this is the new receptacle, so we're gonna take all the pieces off. You're gonna wanna obviously keep this. This is gonna be the little gasket that's gonna go against the fiberglass or the sidewall of your camper to keep water out. They have this 3M adhesive side, which is gonna press onto the back of the receptacle. So definitely keep this, don't forget about it. And just like the other one, we're gonna twist this to unlock it and separate it. So we're gonna start by sliding the nut over. And put this rubber thing on. And then just so I don't forget about this, I'm gonna slide that up top. Slide all these through. And then to keep it from sliding down, I'm just gonna tighten it down a little bit so it's out of my way while I'm working. Basically, as you tighten this plastic nut, it's going to crush that rubber insert to create a nice watertight seal and then keep this from pulling back and forth. So now that I got all this on so I don't forget about it, it's up out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and put all of these wires into the corrective spots. So the way that these set screws work is that as you tighten them, it's going to pull this bar closer to clamp down onto the wire, and as you loosen it, it's gonna back that off. So you're gonna wanna loosen all of these up. I've already done the other 3. That'll give you space to slide your wires in. And as you can see, because I have it tilted down, this one drops. So if you need to push it up out of the way, just push against that set screw with your finger so that the wire can go in. You wanna make sure that these are inserted all the way. And then just be careful that you're not compressing the insulation, which will leave a slight gap. And then you won't have good electrical contact. So make sure that it's only bare conductor being compressed by that little bar in there. So white to white, ground to green, black to black, and then red. So as you do this, when you go to tighten them down, you want to make sure your wire is inserted all the way until it stops. So I stripped these so that I know I shouldn't see any conductor. So like here I can see some conductor, some of that copper for this black one, so I know it's not inserted all the way. So if I pivot it, I can feel it going in. So you should do the same here. So once you've got the wire pressed in all the way, I'm just going to do one at a time. Set the screw. Double check that I'm not on the insulation. Tighten it down. And I'm just going to work my way around. So I'm going to move this foam piece out of the way, loosen up this nut so I can slide the housing down. Again, you're looking to get these pins to go into these channels, and then it's just a twist lock. So there's a little groove where that pin will set in. It should all be there. Slide the rubber piece down. The wire is stiff, so you might have to maneuver it a little bit to get it set properly. Tighten this nut. So once that's all tightened, I'm going to go ahead, and you'll see that on this side, at least for the receptacle we have, there's these little tabs at the top. That's where it goes over here on the top of the receptacle. So make sure you have it oriented right. I'm going to peel that off. Slide this down into position. Press it into place. And then as we tighten this down, it's going to get compressed, so you don't have to worry about sticking it on too much. So once this is all together, shove that wire back into your camper. And then you're going to get your screws. Open up this cap, and then you'll see that there's 4 holes here. So we're going to put those screws through those and go back to the original holes. So I'm just going to get the top 2 here started. So I want to make sure they align with that hole in the fiberglass. I don't want to crack this at all. Once I got those lined up, I'll go ahead and tighten them down. You want to be careful. Depending on the tool that you use, obviously you don't want to just go full throttle and just drive these right in. You don't want to crack your fiberglass, so I'm just doing this to get it started. I'll come back through and finish them off by hand after. Alright, so I'm going to come through, screwdriver, finish them off by hand. Make sure it's all snug. Go around a couple times, because as you start to do one side, it'll pull the whole cover in, and the other side will end up being a little looser, so you can keep going. It's pretty good. Awesome, there you have it. Just a piece of maintenance. As you use these and these pins are exposed to the environment and weather around you, they could start to corrode. So just a good maintenance tip here is to use some sort of electrical contact cleaner and to spray off these contacts. Try to clean any corrosion off of them. Obviously you want to make sure this isn't, powered up. There's no power coming through these when you go to clean them up. And hopefully that'll prevent any sort of hot spots where if you do have corrosion, there's going to be a lot of resistance. It's going to heat up and you could have a burnout. I'm not saying that's what happened to us. We don't know what happened because it was the ground pin, which didn't make any sense. We worked with Grand Design. Again, they just gave us a new receptacle. That's what we replaced here today, as well as a new cable. So we just want to make sure you always keep up with your maintenance, and it should be good.